Confess the lies, we cannot be so blind. Hear their cries, to wake till daylight dies. Daylight dies.
You know a lot of that Killswitch Engage song.
Just that song.
Just that one?
And like the other single on that album.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the newest comic duo, Davis, a dabbler in many disciplines with a voice that can soothe and persuade. Mike, a fanatical specialist with a mouth like a bullhorn, fueled by strong opinions and a compulsion to share them. With microphones and comics in hand, they are Jacks of Trades.
Hey everyone, welcome to Drinking Issues. I'm Mike.
And I'm Davis.
On Drinking Issues, we read and discuss a current ongoing comic run and pair it with a lovely themed alcohol for you guys. So as you know, we're currently reading Champions by Marvel, as launched in their Marvel Now 2016 version, because they already did a Marvel Now. We are currently on issue 3, which came out in the first week of December. This episode's coming out in the first week of January. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, New Year, whatever you celebrate, whatever you're doing.
Oh, has Tet happened yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
Happy whatever you celebrate.
Greg, can we get a fact checked on when Tet is this year?
Greg is just stink-eyeing Davis right now.
Yes, because we are here with Greg of In-Depth Media.
As always.
Being our wonderful, wonderful sound guru, tech guy, and overall audio wizard.
Okay, yep. This issue of Champions is dubbed...
TechFest is January 28th.
Okay, so we haven't had Tet yet. All right.
No.
Thank you.
Tet. Ooh, that's my girlfriend's birthday. My girlfriend's birthday is on the Tet Offensive.
It's so fitting for you.
I know. So, this issue of Drinking Issues, we are doing Champions number 3. Stand together, change the world. That's the tagline for this issue. It says so right on the cover. If you can read, I hope you can, because that's how comics work.
I thought it was because the world still needs heroes.
No. Look at the bottom. The big words on the bottom. There's more on the page.
Near the youths.
Yes, the youths. Yeah, as Davis described, we see the team surrounded by a bunch of young people.
Youths.
I do like that term. And they're just kind of standing there. So
yep.
It's a
whole gang.
Not a terribly interesting cover page, but oh well. So as you know, on Drinking Issues, like I said, we read a comic, we pair it with an alcohol. So Davis, what drink did you bring today and why?
Well, as you know, I kind of only I 3/4 phone in a lot of things in life. With this one, I don't want to delve too much into the plot right now, what we're delving into, but I did Rogue Dead Guy Ale. Rogue because the team goes a little rogue in this issue. A little rogue. And there is a dead guy.
Yeah, dead guy because Victor Von Doom kills Mr. Fantastic.
Yep.
The ultimate one.
Yeah.
But in Otherworld,
right,
not Battleworld.
Right. He stretches out his intestines to wrap around his entire body and then squeezes it until he like jello pools out.
Yeah, none of that happens.
No, not today.
None of that happens.
Not today.
Now, me personally...
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
So just to put the emphasis, before we started recording, Mike went to McDonald's, got a halfway filled up styrofoam container with some form of drink. We've been recording for about 4 or 5 hours now, and I still don't know what is in that drink. He didn't say tea. Oh, let me phrase it. Things it is not. It is not urine, it is not Coca-Cola, and it is not tea.
I never said it was not Coke or tea. I just said it was not urine.
Okay.
I just did not confirm if it was Coke or tea.
Okay.
So, like Davis said, I have the largest McDonald's cup I could get, and it is currently filled with the sugary Atlanta serum that is Coca-Cola.
Okay.
And now the reason I have this is because this issue delves with a lot of terms of American imperialism, kind of the American influence abroad. So not only do I have my large McDonald's cup full of Coca-Cola
and ice,
but I also have a small bottle of Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey that I
did just reach out and pull that out of his back pocket.
He's had it the whole
None of
time.
us saw this.
He's had it the whole
Hold on, guys. Stay with me. I have a large McDonald's cup full of Coca-Cola that I am pouring Jack Daniels into that I purchased from Walmart. And there we go. I have made myself a 4 conglomeration Jack and Coke to commemorate American influence overseas.
I have a quick question to ask you about this, though.
Yes.
If you remember, was the Coca-Cola machine a Coca-Cola freestyle machine?
This one?
Yes.
No.
Oh, I was about to say, because if it was a Coca-Cola freestyle machine, I would just be impressed, because that's just.
No, McDonald's doesn't do those.
You guys want options? We'll give you some fucking
McDonald's
options.
doesn't give options. But you can get 10 chicken nuggets and a quarter pounder with cheese for $5, which kind of disturbed me.
Well,
the meat was already not that expensive.
Well, that's the thing. Chicken nuggets are not made from chicken. They're made from chicken nougat. Because it's
Chicken nougat, okay.
No, it's the chicken nougat in the nuggets is literally they chop everything up, combine it with polymers and binders, and then they feed it into different shapes. 4 different shapes: bell, bone, ball, and something else.
Oh, interesting.
And then they make them look like that. It's disgusting. It's parts is parts, as they used to say.
Yeah.
Parts is parts.
But they're good, I'm sorry. They're still kind of yummy. Okay, anyway, let's get into this issue. Now, if you remember, our last issue is...
Can I do the introduction?
Sure, Davis.
Last time on Champions. Ballsy.
Champions Ball Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Go Hulk
Go Hulk and
and
Chisen.
Vizchi.
Vizchi?
So, like, if you remember, last issue, Hulk and Viv were kissing in the woods.
Snogging, as they say in the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, so the team is kind of circled around them, and Hulk and Viv they break off from each other. They're kind of in awe, and Viv's like, look, I said I was curious about how kissing a boy would affect my neural receptors. I don't see what the problem is here. And they were like, so what's the verdict? She goes, oh, it didn't affect him very much. And you see Hulk with this little thought bubble of a shattered heart.
Mm-hmm. And then Viv looking and saying, perhaps I should try a different gender.
Yeah, looking straight to Kamala.
Sorry, boys. Not in the experimental mood.
Yeah, no. So they go off talking. Hulk ends up immediately dismissing Viv.
As soon as there's a thought bubble of her synthezoid foot crushing a bloodied heart underneath it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, she's all cold and robot-y. Like, I'm not. Yeah, it's no big deal.
Man, one of the smartest people in the world, but still can't find love.
Yeah, no.
Like a robot.
I hate that voice.
I love my robot voice.
So we're introduced to the mission pretty early on. It's the women of this region called Shazar, in a non-named Middle East country. And Viv has taken notice of this particular province.
Sharzad.
Sharzad.
Sharzad. Sharzad. Sharzad.
I think that was a spell check error.
Yeah.
Oh well. So
Damn
Sharzad.
Microsoft.
Sharzad. Viv takes notice of this province because there are women at odds with the terrorist group. They are trying to educate themselves and get more rights. And this terrorist group is
gunning down children.
Yeah, that's a quote. Quote is
gunning down children.
I have it in my notes in quotation marks. So they all hop into Hulk's new team transport vehicle, and they're on their way. Now, while they're on their way, what do? They argue about who's going to be the leader.
Yeah, obviously. There's 3 main contenders. Obviously, Kamala Khan.
Yeah, Kamala's like, well, of course I'm the leader. I started this thing.
Yep. Hulk wants to be leader.
Why does Hulk want to be the leader?
Because he's an arrogant ass.
What is his reasoning for being?
He's the 7th smartest person in the world.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm super smart.
Yep.
It's totally me. And then Sam, kind of trying to stir the pot a little bit. He's like, hey, what about Cyclops?
He has experience.
Yeah, and Amadeus chose like real funny. And Scott's like, it's not that funny. But they just kind of walk away from that moment. Right. So they end up...
So they head to Lazabad Sharzad.
Yeah. What's really interesting about this is Amadeus notes that Kamala kind of has a personal stake in this one. Mm-hmm. You know, she is a female youth of Middle East origin. You know, so she does kind of resonate with these, you know, people that could have easily been her.
Yeah, and they even talk about going into current life. Malala Yousafzai?
Yeah,
Yousafzai?
Malala Yousafzai.
Yes. Nobel Peace winner for speaking against the Taliban after
Yeah,
she got shot
I did a
for-
little research on it. Malala Yousafzai. That's the pronunciation that I could find.
Okay.
Maybe Zai, I'm not sure, but I think it's Yousafzai. She was very vocal about the importance of educating women in these more restrictive Muslim cultures because not educating you women is not benefiting you in any stretch of the imagination. It's only impeding the growth of the country and the culture as a whole. But for her speaking out, she was shot by some extremists.
Yes.
And this ended up having her further push for rights and work with different programs and be much more vocal.
So instead of backing down, it increased the
Yeah,
fervor
and
too.
she ended up, her efforts won her the 2014 Nobel Peace Prize. So it does talk about a modern day issue. Now, Amadeus notes that he's against anybody stifling the pursuit of learning. As yes, he's the seventh smartest person on the planet, but he's not just resting on his intelligence. He's also a scientist.
He wants everyone else to be
As
intelligent.
arrogant as he is, he's still a scientist. He's still in the pursuit of furthering his own knowledge and anybody's in general.
Well, furthering knowledge in general.
Yeah, so, and then just on top of the injustice part, everybody kind of has a dog in this fight, realistically.
Right.
So they get to...
Especially the one mutant they have in there saying my entire... Well,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
Not exactly Cyclops' entire life, but another form of Scott Summers' his entire life. He spent trying to fight and make people equality amongst different people.
Yeah, exactly. Scott has always been, the mutants themselves have always been persecuted. So he resonates with that as well.
I smell the Jack Daniels from here.
It's strong.
It is.
It's very strong.
He put the whole half pint in there.
It's a large McDonald's cup, like I said. So anyway, they get to this region. They show up and they immediately start fighting the terrorists, right? And they find
First shot fired, optical blast.
Of course. So it's a great distance weapon. So they end up knocking the guys back, and they meet with a local girl to kind of get brought up to speed on what's going on. The extremists showed up to oppress the female and the youth of this culture.
Yeah, like with the girl saying, "My sister died at their hands," it's simply for reading a book.
Yeah, exactly. The women of the culture did try to fight back a little bit.
Yes.
And they ended up receiving violence in response.
Yes.
So the champions are like, look, you girls need to run. And they're like, no, we can't run. Running shows defeat.
Yes.
You can't run. It's a bad example for anyone else who's fighting as well.
How will leaving honor their sacrifice?
Exactly. Yeah, the dead would have died in vain. So the champions say, okay, fine. Then we'll fight, for you guys. And they're like, no, you can't. That shows us being rescued. That does not show our strength. We need to show our strength. And this moment is a cool commentary on this, for lack of a better term, the term coined by South Park creators. What is it, Matt Parker and Trey Stone? Yeah. Those Team America World Police.
Right.
It's this modern... America keeps sticking its head in. And they made a really cool comment in the comic about if we're shown being rescued by American heroes. And I never thought about it in that context, maybe because my existence is so American-centric.
Well, we are Americans.
Yeah, but to me, it was always like, oh, that's a superhero. Like, I never thought of it as, oh, that's an American superhero.
Yeah.
And as stupid as that sounds, I feel that way about Captain America before I really sit down and think about it.
Yeah,
my gut reaction...
he is a superhero. He's not the American superhero.
My gut reaction is, Captain America, he fights for the world. Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Like if I really think about it, I'd take pause. So I thought that was really an interesting point to bring in this is that these are American heroes.
Right.
And whether or not it's an American superhero, it's an American hero as a U.S. soldier, it's an American hero as any kind of American intervention.
Right. It's kind of a someone else bailing them out.
Yeah, that coming to the rescue does not help. They need to be seen as strong and self-reliant on their own. So this girl named Amal basically shoots down all of these ideas and says she has an idea of her own, and she describes all these different reasons why their ideas aren't going to work and why hers is. And Scott and Kamala make this half joking aside, like, maybe Amal should be the leader. You know?
I mean, could you imagine her in like the Nick Fury role?
That would be awesome.
Right.
Just on the transport commanding.
Yeah.
Does she get an eye patch?
I was going to say, so someone pokes her eye out and she gets a cybernetic eye, Cave Carson style.
Or
we're jumping genres. Sorry.
Yeah. I was actually going to say, or Nick Fury, who at a certain point in his existence does have a cybernetic eye.
Oh, I'm not that furious.
Oh, that wasn't even a pun. It was just bad.
I know. It wasn't good.
So anyway, the girls basically organize this demonstration in the town square to lure out the terrorists.
Yes.
And the champions are lying in wait to attack in secret.
Mm-hmm.
As these terrorists approach the girls, the ground immediately opens up and swallows them.
They literally had an underground resistance.
Yeah, but what was really cool was the rhetoric of the girls resisting, and basically their rhetoric was, you like to claim that your God wants you to do this. Maybe what your God really wants is you losing. And right as she says that, or a paraphrasing of that, basically, the ground opens up and swallows a bunch of them.
Well, just Cho reaching up from underneath the ground and pulling someone through this desert area.
Yeah, now the champions do note, they're like, hey, we're still kind of fighting, but Viv notes, look, they're not going to say anything. A, we're hidden, and B, they would have to admit being beat up by a girl.
Right.
As she's
especially
blasting somebody with her laser jewel.
And especially with Spider-Man in the pretty much covered head to toe in traditional garb.
I love Miles
that
Morales
was
in
wonderful.
the hijab.
That
Miles
was
Morales
wonderful.
hiding in the hijab is wonderful. Yeah, you have them fighting in secret. So while you have your guys below, which is Nova and Viv and the Hulk on the street level, you have Kamala and Miles, who culturally, ethnically, basically, can blend in with a Middle Eastern society.
Yes.
And they're wearing traditional hijabs, and they're like discreetly doing things.
Right. There's a rocket that gets launched at them, and the quick little thwip from Miles launches it off in another direction, out of the way from civilians.
Well, in the scuffle, that girl Amal ends up getting cut by the leader, and Miles and Kamala kind of step in to separate the two. And Amal, in a show of strength, steps up to the leader and basically spits, in his face, saying, look, I know you'll get reinforcements. Fine. Let them come. You are the cowards, and we are the ones that are made strong by our God. So they're saying, look, whatever you have to do what you do. We're going to hang out here. You can bring whatever you want. You can throw whatever you want at us. We're not going anywhere.
Right.
So the fight kind of ends there, and Amal and the champions and all the girls of the city are kind of talking together as they're about to leave. And Amal is thanking the champions for basically giving them the courage to act.
Yes, and a good note that I just noticed on this is as they're leaving, they have a blue C put on their shirts.
I had that note, is that everybody is writing this blue C on their chest like a logo, like a Superman logo.
Right, for
like a Captain America
the champions.
logo. Yeah.
Like establishing that this champions group is not just them. Like, just it's not just like, oh, Avengers assemble. It's no.
You guys, we're all champions. It's not just the team.
Hashtag all champions.
It's not just the team. It's everybody. And that's the point that Kamala makes, is that we are all on the same team now. Not, she's like, if you guys need us again, call us. Because you're not alone. You're a champion. We are champions. Everybody's a champion. So it's all about this inclusive kind of team.
Exactly. We are the champions, my friend. And we'll keep on fighting till the end.
God, you want to finish?
We are the champions.
Are you going to finish it?
We are the champions. We are the champions.
Do we have time?
There's no time for losers.
Why?
Because we are the champions of the world.
Are we done?
Yep.
So
dun dun.
God damn.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm out.
The point I wanted to make was Sam's goodbye.
Yes.
I really like his little note of, thank you for letting us help.
Yeah.
I like that little note because it was not like, oh, of course you needed our help. Let us step in and save the day for you. It was, thank you for letting us be a part of this moment That is yours. It's your moment. Thank you for letting us be a part of it.
Right.
And
speaking to where it's not, for lack of a better term, the Avengers whipping it out, flopping it over the place,
and then just leaving,
destroying buildings, but Abomination's under control. Deuce, send a check to the Tony Stark's mom's name.
But Abomination. No, Abomination. Yeah, that's the Hulk one. Okay.
No, it's like send it to the whatever Stark fund that fixes up all the cities at the end of everything.
Whatever. Yeah. So I did like that point. It does tie back into that American imperialism, through line of, it's not, hey, thank us for helping you because you needed it. It's, hey, thank you for letting us help you. So they end up getting back into the transport and leaving. They go right back into this team argument.
Yeah.
And they
ask, who's the leader?
Yeah, they ask Viv, hey, who would you vote for? And Viv goes, based on experience, Scott. And Amadeus is like, what? He led the X-Men for like 5 minutes. And Scott's like, he says the comment, you didn't even, what real hero villains did you fight? And Scott
Vanisher, goes, Blob, Unus, Magneto, Submariner, who is a mutant.
Yeah, Namor. Yeah. So Scott's like, yeah, I kind of did some real stuff. And Amadeus basically, in frustration, yells, I can keep us safe. And then an RPG.
No, I admit nothing.
Yeah.
I just
he yells, I admit nothing, because like, you got to admit he's got some experience. He yells, I admit nothing, I can keep us safe, and then an RPG hits the vehicle.
Fatum.
Fade to black.
Yeah, there's not even that is not a fade. That is a cut to black right there. There is no fade.
Cut to black. Now we get to the advertisement for the next issue, which is an image of the champions. And then some tweets and posts online about them, and then a black claw just kind of scratching through it,
non-gloved,
black,
veiny hand. It looks a little blue black, but still like veiny hand, just
scratching through
the
this
front
image,
cover.
scratching through this image. So,
right,
I'm thinking next issue we're going to get to see the villain for this through line.
That would be nice. That'd be nice. I mean, it's 3 issues. One issue to establish, another issue to build, and another issue to at least get a premise going.
Well, from what I know, I'm thinking this is going to be a 6-issue arc. The solicitations are out through March right now.
Okay.
And as of the moment, usually when an arc ends and a new arc starts, they make that comment, new arc starting now, to kind of grab people's attention to start reading. And that has not been out, and March would be the 6th issue. So
what if this continues?
How do you mean?
What if this is going to be like 30-something years, Champion 600 that we're going to be reading?
We might. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Just checking.
Now, like I said, if this arc doesn't end, we're going to have problems.
If this arc comes to an abrupt end, then we're going to have some problems just letting everyone kind of run about it.
Also, they have the pre-solicitation, on like Amazon and a couple comic buying websites like, where you can buy trades. And the trade is denouement as issues 1 through 6.
Okay.
So I think 4, we're going to get the villain. 5, we're going to get the climax. And 6, we'll get the resolution.
The denouement.
Yeah. So going back to this issue, I want to talk about some of those main key points of the theme.
All right.
Like I said, the Team America World Police.
Yes.
It's the main through line through the bottom of the book is this American imperialism that we see so often.
Well, you know what?
Especially in the Middle East.
I will say, due to it being in the Middle East, that is definitely heavily insinuated / implied.
Exactly.
I get that.
Yeah.
I personally not personally, put your privilege aside, Davis. I try to view this as a not so much of, America coming in, but people there being like, no, we have to fight our own fight. You can't come here and fight our fight for us. That will make us look weak, and whenever you leave, we will still have the same problems. We have to fight our own fight, and we're able to take care of this the way that we have to take care of it. We appreciate your help, but we have to take care of this.
While I agree with that point, I do think them saying American heroes coming in to save us definitely does put through on that through line of,
Valid.
And like I so the book is basically saying, look, we can assist, we can't usurp, we can't take over
combat support, not direct combat.
Now, to play devil's advocate though, The answer in this issue, secretly backing a favored side,
Nah.
hasn't historically worked out in the Middle East for us either.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at
See Iraq.
Even more poignant today. Saudi Arabia is bombing Yemen right now because Yemen and Iraq are contesting over, or Saudi Arabia and Iraq are contesting over Yemen, but we're supplying Saudi Arabia with weapons and fuel because we don't want Iraq to get that because we don't like them, but we also don't like the other people, and we don't like the other people, but we like them, but we don't want to help them because they did this, and it's just this weird, complicated web of fuckery.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's a trope we see repeated, especially in the Middle East. A great use of fuckery, by the way.
I try. I try.
Now, the subplot that I thought was really cool is something I haven't seen yet, currently in Marvel, and I'm happy it's at least here.
All right.
Justice for Scott. Because
Wait, what?
every issue that even remotely deals with Scott Summers as of late
Yeah.
is all about how horrible he was, how terrible he was, how everything was. And as you pointed out, in Death of X, he still didn't really do anything that horrific. So I don't know where all the shade's coming from.
Yeah. Well, apparently some stuff happened during the X-Men versus Avengers
That you're not aware of.
that I'm not aware
Okay.
of. But
Anyway.
and then during the most recent, whenever all the worlds came crashing and Cyclops
Battleworld?
Battleworld, he became like, he went from being like visor Cyclops to like X-shaped
X-face Cyclops.
X-face Cyclops. Apparently shenanigans happen, and I don't know the specifics of that. But
anyway.
Scott's been doing sketchy shit for a
Anyway.
couple of years. Oh, he fucked Emma Frost on the grave of Jean Grey.
Yeah, he did that, which was kind of weird. But what I'm trying to say is, teenage, time-displaced Scott Summers has been catching all the shit.
He's been getting all the flack.
For adult, modern-day Scott Summers, who is dead and can't answer for his own crimes.
Nope.
So we're finally seeing some of these younger characters stand up and say, hey, look, this Scott Summers led the X-Men and did a decent job. This Scott Summers has integrity. He's got experience. He's not this monster that his future self, technically, or one alternate future, whatever, however you want to describe the timey-wimey nonsense is.
The soap opera continuity that's happened over the past 75 years.
And it's basically, like I said, it's the opposite of every single other book that mentions Scott Summers.
True.
I have not touched a Marvel book that mentions him, teenage or otherwise, in a positive light. Even all new X-Men still gives him some shit. So it's kind of nice to finally see some of these characters stepping up for him. With that point, is there any other plot points that really jumped out at you? Because for me, it was the main plot of the Team America World Police and the subplot of Justice for Cyclops.
I did like the Team America World Police. I like what Champions is doing as, I
will admit, it's not the traditional Marvel team book.
It is not. Well, we haven't seen a supervillain yet. So this is definitely going beyond.
We've seen villains. None of them are outrageous. Well, none of them were superpowered for the most part. Il Pagliacci had a little bit of tech and some makeup.
Right, but he was still just
There was no villain.
It was
in number
still
two.
small time.
And
small time was number 2 was building as like the as
and there was
even books
terrorists.
do.
The villain of number 2 was the friction of the team. That was the villain. Like, it wasn't even a person. And then
and
three
then number
was
3
real
now
world
we're
terrorists.
exactly we're dealing with real world terrorists and real world events that are happening right now. And I'm liking what Champions is doing with that. They're pretty much answering the question, well, what if we did have superheroes right now? Like, what would they do involving ISIS?
Yeah, I think the question they're trying to answer,
or whatever the proper term for it is now.
I don't know. I think ISIS is a subgroup of. I don't really know.
Fine. Then using the generic blanket term, terrorists.
Terrorists.
I'm
you use that Texas influence, Davis.
Terrorists.
Yeah.
Terrorists. I really like the way it's going. It's interesting. As we've said, it's a fun new take on what the superheroes are doing, especially with dealing with. I'm going to use the M word. I don't like to use the M word, but I'm using it. Millennial superheroes.
Yeah.
That's what they are. They're millennial superheroes.
I will say the take on millennials has not been offensive. which could easily be by an older comic writer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying that. Who is it? Wade?
Man,
right?
Yeah, I think Wade is the right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mark Wade is not old. He's well versed in Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
so he's a good voice. But it is, you know, you do see that the lack of understanding from the older generations tends to paint an unfair caricature.
Man, these millennial superheroes, they have these pie in the sky ideas, and well, they just haven't experienced real life yet to have that crushed out of their system.
So yeah, let's move on to ratings.
Ratings?
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to let you go first on this one because I typically go first and we have a good counteract, but I want you to go first, sir.
That's fair. For me, honestly, giving it a 5. 5 out of 10.
Really?
I'm giving it a 5 out of 10.
Damn.
Now, yes, I do like what the book is trying to do.
Okay.
My problem with that is it feels a lot like preaching to the choir for me.
All right.
Because it's real easy to get me to agree with some of the ideas you're trying to put forward that I already had before reading this book. I don't see this book as influencing anybody's opinion.
Alrighty.
I you know, at least for me personally, a lot of these issues, I feel like the guy who's reading this book already believes a lot of these things.
All right.
You know, and it's not swaying them very far. So that's my contention on that point. Now, I will say that there are a lot of positives.
Yeah.
You know, it's a creative way to talk about human rights and, you know, most notably women's rights.
Right.
And especially in the Middle East.
And it's bringing up, aside from I have not read much of it.
Okay.
But what I have read of some of the current Miss Marvel that Kamala Khan is in, they do deal with a lot of the women's rights, being someone who is of some form of Arabic descent in the United States of America, dealing with the problems that are happening right now, dealing with that as an American.
Yes.
And dealing with that in America, I agree it's doing a really good job at addressing that. And it is showing that I lost my train of thought.
It's fine. It's fine. But like I said, it is with especially you can get tired of talking about the Middle East. We've been dealing with the Middle East since shortly after 9/11, 2001.
Now I remember what I was going to say.
You know,
they have addressed that, but they have not. I have yet to read a comic that has addressed it on this personal of a level, though. Because we haven't had any superheroes to address this. I mean, they haven't had anything with Captain America running off to Baghdad and beating up Saddam Hussein like they had.
I'm kind of glad with that, though. I don't think that's necessary.
But Captain America beat up Hitler.
Yeah, and that was important at that time.
And we didn't have Tony Stark doing a pulsar blast to Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, no. So.
Was Gaddafi a bad guy? I don't know. It's all blurred right now.
Doesn't matter. He's gone. But I know talking about the Middle East can get tiring. We've been doing it for 15 years. Yeah. You know, talking intensely about the Middle East and the problems it has and how it affects America. It was an engaging way to address that topic still. You know, a topic that I honestly do get tired of talking about. I get tired of talking about that particular segment of international politics.
Right.
But it was still engrossing enough for me to read this issue and read it with fervor. So I do commend it on that. I did like that it was not the standard macho punch through your problems kind of story.
Right. It's
which we get through a lot of these superhero books. A lot of them
reworking the wheel.
Yeah, a lot of them are kind of use your strength to get through the problems. A lot of America's military story ends up being that, and we usually see it working out poorly. It's when we find these creative ways to manipulate the world around us for the greater good that we do see the most benefit. So I do like that tie-in. Again, the justice for Scott part. Yeah. I really like that. Now, my negatives. The counter-offer to American militarism was not really that good.
No, and not
So the alternate option is either A, sending superheroes to quietly fight in the background, which without their presence, them standing in the middle of the city square protesting is getting them mowed down.
Right. Or you just send in some CIA operatives to take them out there and install the puppet dictator.
Exactly. So that's my
Oh,
problem.
wait.
We've done that numerous times. So the answer.
Sorry, South America.
The answer in this book is fun and it's a cool way to talk about it, but it's not real. It's not even remotely realistic.
Exactly. It's not an actual thing we could be addressing. It's not a real world solution.
Exactly.
But it's a comic book.
But here's my thing though. I think that if you're going to address a political reality of the modern world in this format, that you do have a responsibility to do it in an interesting and creative way, but still ground it in realism.
A different way.
Yeah, exactly.
can
So
see that.
so bring a different perspective, and they did that, to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
But when the answer that they put forward is to secretly back a situation that we don't agree with or do agree with, depending on the side.
Right. Well, it turns it from being Team America World Police to Team America Secret Police.
Exactly. It's not a realistic answer, and I think if you're going to tackle this issue, you need to bring something original to the table, because I don't want to be pessimistic in believing that the kids reading this book, the people, because predominantly it's teenagers.
Well,
I think it's young adults and it's teenagers.
Let's hope that
I'm
it's
hoping
younger adults that are younger 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old adults that are reading this.
What I'm
Let's
hoping is the readers of this book know that secretly backing a military side in the Middle East has led poorly, because if they don't, then we've been doing a terrible job at educating them. But
Never forget.
So I'm going to go on the assumption that they know this information, and if so,
If
this
they're
is clearly not the answer. And if you're going to address this topic, I think you need to try and at least propose a creative solution, even if it's unrealistic.
Right.
At least
Well,
propose it as the brainstorm kind of concept
Right.
of you open a brainstorm with a ridiculously absurd idea, so that nobody is afraid to talk about their moderately less absurd idea.
Yeah, I've never been into brainstorming like that.
And that's a common practice, is people are so afraid to look stupid that they don't give their ideas that seem slightly out of the norm. So a way to break that ice is to put forward something outrageously ridiculous. And then that way, the people whose ideas are less ridiculous, that might actually be feasible, are then presented when they're not hidden.
Would I have learned these things if I went to private school?
I don't know. I mean, I think maybe I just got that from a more, I don't want to say business centric, but it's one of the things I learned.
I learned typically you're more business.
Well, it's
and
I learned it in business school from a marketing standpoint, because I went through a music industry degree, which was pretty much all about how to monetize and manage a creative product, like a band or a singer-songwriter or a form of media, a media producer, basically. And when you're doing that, you have to find creative and interesting ways to get that information out to a saturated public. So you can't be afraid of the weird idea, because the weird idea, like I'm going to embed a flash drive in a brick wall that someone has to plug their computer in to play an alternate reality game. That shit has worked.
Oh, I remember seeing about that.
Dumbest idea when you look at it on paper.
Yep.
But it's worked.
Yeah, but people will go to that spot to do that.
So we did a lot of concepts, because when you're dealing with a band that might be writing a song about ridiculously absurd concepts, the marketing is going to be ridiculously absurd as well. So my whole point about this is, if you're going to propose a counter offer to what we currently have, you have a responsibility to make sure it's at least attempted to be grounded in a possible reality, or to be so absurd that you open dialogue. And by just repeating what we've already done with a different skin over the top, I think it's kind of lazy, and it's not helping us move forward. It's more of that preaching to the choir.
Right.
Whereas you're like, of course we need to not send in the military. So we send in super soldiers secretly in the background. Well, let's ignore that part, but let's talk,
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and you don't have to agree with me. I'm just saying that's where I'm coming from.
In the words of Stan in the episode of South Park where Randy says the N-word, I get it. I don't get it.
Exactly, and
Here we
that's
go.
fine. And then my two more superficial points. The art for me is getting very hard to follow in busy scenes.
Are we talking like how the panel structure is, or how the individual
the design of the characters? So those big fight scenes, there's so many stark, hard lines, hard angles, strong color contrasts. When you have a really busy panel, you have to really sit there and focus on that panel to get an idea of what you're looking at.
And I agree with you. I mean, there's one panel here specifically. I'm trying to see it. It's Kamala saying "whoops" and a bunch of people tripping. It took me until reading it about 10 minutes ago to seeing that she elasto extended her foot out to trip them.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a great style.
Busy in a bad way.
It's a great style for bringing emotion to a character, for bringing emotion to their face, for characters quietly interacting. But when you get a busy fight scene, it becomes difficult to deal with. You know? And then one of my biggest qualms, Amadeus Cho. I can't like this character. He's such a douche, and I keep trying to...
He's an unlikable Hulk.
It's fine, and maybe it's a personal bias because I like the Bruce Banner Hulk. But I get it. He is a cocky teenager who is smart and strong and relatively attractive, and he has power, and he's dealing with that while he's so hormone-fueled. But he's such an unlikable... Like, it's a jock nerd. Like, it's weird. He's like the 80s, captain of the football team in a John Hughes movie.
Right. But at the same time, he's the leader of the chess team, and he's going to Harvard next year. And he's also in charge of the decathlon, but he makes fun of all the other nerds because he can bench press the hot girl in class.
While he's solving the math equation they can't understand. And that's my problem.
Plus or minus b, square root times 2b, x295, send nudes.
Like that. Send nudes.
I almost missed that. I'm just learning that apparently the way
to be fair, I am sure outside of this issue in real life, Amadeus Cho would have used the term send nudes.
Well, probably because you look at his Hulk cock, he puts it next to a fucking foot-long Subway sandwich and it dwarfs the sandwich.
And ignoring
let's
the teenager's penis.
Let's just not talk about Hulk cocks.
Let's not talk about a teenager's penis, first of all. Davis.
Fine.
But second of all, it's I want to like the character because he's the nerd that finally won. But he's such an ass about it, which I will admit is pretty realistic. Because if you gave a nerdy teenage version of me an ability to win, I would be such a fucking dick. But maybe it's because I would be that I would hope that the model of that character
wouldn't be a twat.
Wouldn't do that. Yes, it's realistic to not do it. But so is the trashy garbage that is portrayed on the Jersey Shore. You hope they would be a better example, but they're not. They're just these stereotypes that we watch. And
fun fact, they're not from Jersey.
Not most of them.
No, they're from New York.
It was like one or two that actually were from Jersey. But anyway, that doesn't matter. The point is that people from New York do visit the Jersey Shore in the summer.
Right.
Not an issue. That's for our other podcast.
Staten Island Unlimited. That one's coming in. That one's coming in June 2018.
I thought we were going to go with Macaroni Rascals.
That's right. That is Macaroni Rascals is the name.
Yeah, that is the Japanese name for the Jersey Shore. When they played in Japan, they renamed it Macaroni Rascals, which I find wonderful. But the point is, I would hope that the Hulk in this story, when you finally get a nerd that wins, he would be a little bit more upstanding. And by taking the realistic route, I think you lose something, and it really makes him hard to read from a personal standpoint.
Yep. You know what? I do agree with you on that one.
So now that I've rated this issue for longer than we talked about the plot, Davis, what is your rating?
7.
Okay.
7.
Okay. That's still a passing grade in most grading formats. It is a
passing grade. If it weren't for the ending, this would have been a 5.
Okay. It was the champions moment, the C's.
The C's? Well, it was the combination of everything turning out okay, as in okay. Champions are fine. Everything's good.
Nothing's great.
Nothing's great, but everything's fine.
But nothing's on fire yet.
As far as everything went from being at red Omega level to like, hey, things are still shitty. We're not at green. Let's go with yellow.
Okay, yeah.
Let's go with the yellow right now.
It's a little bit better.
But that
just do a little better every time.
But the last page, specifically,
that last minute cliffhanger
of just, I will keep us out of danger. Oh, sorry. Just the blowing up. So it's like, okay, well, this is the cliffhanger I've been waiting for. This is the action I've been waiting for. As far as
you want them to fight a big villain.
Well, I want them to do something aside from just carry on a social justice warrior crusade.
I can agree with that point. I can agree with that point 100%.
As horrible as this is going to sound to some people, if at the next one they're, having Iceman freeze hoses at a riot, then that would be taking this comic to a whole nother level and just engrossing it in realism that it doesn't need to be engrossed in to that extent. Now, going off of the wonderful good, the bad, and the ugly that Greg was involved with, going off where if the next bad guy was just white power man, to where it's just this guy.
Sorry. The white man.
So no, I know.
No, this is a new Greg. This is a new character.
I know the old character was the white man,
but he is in the collector's zoo. This is no longer.
This
the
is
white man. This is white power man. It's a different guy.
White
different
power
guy.
man,
completely different.
In which it's a clone of Luke Cage.
He wears chubby shorts, and his dad's gonna sue you.
Yeah, no. There's one thing that pisses me off most in this world, and that is people that wear shorts with long sleeve shirts.
Are you cold or are you warm? Pick one.
One. Are you stupid or are you just not paying attention to the way you look? What is the thing? It is ridiculous. No. My legs are going to be cold, but my upper body needs to be warm. Screw you. And that even constitutes with having a long sleeve shirt that you roll up. You are doing a fashion faux pas. You need to get over your fucking self and you need to go and donate money to a food bank or work at a soup kitchen.
I agree with the very hard line you've taken on this very innocuous topic.
Thank you. But 7, which puts me, I had to calculate this.
Okay.
Issue number 1, I gave it a solid good 9. Really did. It was good. It was solid. It was grape.
Okay.
Yes, I have started saying grape instead of great now because I'm an adult. So number 1, I gave it a 9. Mm-hmm. Number 2, I gave it a 6. This, gave it a 7, which puts me at a 7.3 repeating for the overall arc right now.
I did the math as well. I am at a 6.66666 repeating. That's a 66%. That is an F in my grading scale in high school.
7.3. C's get degrees.
To be fair, I think anything above a 5 is a passing, realistic. I think 5 or more, meh or more is passing. Like if it's not abysmal, I think it's at least should pass.
There's actually something that I actually listened to about the fact that Europeans, their grading scale, if it's above a 50, it's like, wait, how much above a 70 that's passing? That's more than passing. Anyway, not the point.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the next issue.
we do a 10 point. We're still above half.
Yeah, we're both still above half. This is still not straight muff cabbage.
Yeah, I'm not against this. I'm pretty excited for the next issue.
I'm also really excited for this next issue. I really want to see where the superheroing comes in.
Yeah, because right now it's heroing.
Exactly. Where's the super?
I get you on that.
And no, the AC is not out, but still, where's the super?
The superintendent. Okay. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah. I live in an apartment building in New York. I can make these references.
Yes, of course. You just fly down to New Orleans,
which, by the way,
to do this podcast.
It took me 3 years to find out that in this one song they were talking about Con Ed. Do you know what Con Ed is?
No.
Con Ed is Con Edison. It's the energy company in New York.
Oh, I had no idea what that was.
Exactly. Con Ed.
Okay.
Exactly. I know. Random references.
Anyway.
713.
Anyway, we're a little bit above a 6 out of 10 for me and a 7 out of 10 for Davis.
7-ish.
Yeah, well, if you round up for me, I'm a 7.
If you round up for me, you won't because you round up at a 5,
still,
so I'm at a
So
I'm at a 6.
We're still at a 7 out of 10.
Math.
It has its problems, but it still is worth reading in our opinion at this point.
Absolutely.
Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited for the next issue, but I can't say at the moment I'm excited for the next arc. So I'm curious to see where this goes because at the end of this,
next arc in Champions or next arc in general?
In Champions.
Okay.
So at what I'm saying is at the end of this, I'm really excited and hopeful that I can give you a good review of, do I want to keep reading this? Will I read Champions after drinking issues? Once we change arcs to a new one, will I read Champions number 7, say, if that's the new arc? Will I keep it on my pull list? Will I drop it? So I'm really excited to get to that point, and I'm excited to see where this story is going.
If they change
I think it's trying to do important things, and I'm excited to see if it succeeds or not.
If they change it to a nothing but typically, historically, Hispanic superheroes, and they call it Championes. How would you feel about that?
I feel like Massacre would show up, which is the Mexican bootleg Deadpool. And I think there's a lot of Deadpool right now. That's my problem.
He's got, like, what, 3 arcs right now?
He's got a lot going on. He's about to have a crossover.
Another one?
Yeah, Deadpool is going to actually go to war with his wife, Shikla. I believe that's how it's pronounced. That's how it looks. And it's gonna be between.
I thought Magic Bullets was going to be stupid enough.
No, it's gonna be Deadpool and the Mercs for Money, and Spider-Man Deadpool. By the way, Spider-Man Deadpool is a lot of fun. I'm just saying. I don't enjoy Deadpool by himself. I enjoy Deadpool playing off a straight man, and it's real fun to see Spider-Man as the straight man. But those 3 for 2 issues each are going to be a crossover event where Deadpool goes to war with his wife.
Okay.
Which is going to be kind of fun because I love domestic disputes. I'm from a suburban American town. I'm very familiar with domestic disputes.
I
just want to see if he can dig his way out of this one.
Who, me or Deadpool?
You.
I don't have to dig out of nothing.
I mean...
This
has been drinking issues.
As Davis said, this has been drinking issues. You know where to find us. Jacks of Trades Podcast at gmail.com, facebook.com/JacksTradesPod, at JacksTradesPod on Instagram and Twitter, and jacksoftradespodcast.com.
And as always, you can find Mike working out at his local gym, lifting weights, and
this is not the forum for it, but Body Doctor's Gym. Love it. Nobody bothers you. They got plenty of weights. If you're a nerd that wants to get jacked, go check out Body Doctors.
Question. Is it true the music that is played on the stereo is typically that of the metal persuasion?
No, it's usually garbage on the radio, but we have a Hulk painted on the wall and a Wonder Woman painted on the wall.
Outstanding. And if you want to see me in person, every Wednesday at 7:30, I host trivia at the Mellow Mushroom on Oak Street in New Orleans, Louisiana. And every other Thursday, I host trivia at the Abita Brewery in Covington, Louisiana at around 7:30.
And if you want to see Greg, he's on the corner of Bourbon and Iberville on Friday and Saturday at 2 a.m. He'll be wearing fishnets.
Now, also, if you want to get on Greg's good side, you need to have exactly these 5 things. 1, a sugar skull-shaped ashtray. 2, a shirt that says Thing 1, located conveniently at every single tourist shop that also has a front. Number 3, you need exactly 2 individual half pints of whiskey, American. All right? American. Individual half pints. They can be the same. They can be different. They have to be different half pints. Number 4, if you have any form of mug, ceramic, preferably, metal, maybe. That's a different one. It distorts the flavor of the whiskey. And finally, number 5, $20, cold hard cash, 1 $2 bill, 1 $10 bill, 1 $5 bill, and 3 individual ones. Does that add up to 20?
I don't know. You know, I'm
Let's
terrible
go with
at
yes.
Basic math.
About the Washingtons, baby.
And he's all about them Washingtons, baby.
So, I think that wraps it up. We've rambled long enough.
That's it.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Davis.
And this has been Drinking Issues. Have a good one.
Adios, y'all.